something to believe in. Oh, Lord, give me something to believe in. Hey guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got my favorite song from Poison today. We're going to learn how to do Something to Believe in. This is a fantastic song with not only a great song, but CC's solo work that he does. From the fills to the epic main solo is by far the favorite thing he's ever done for me. I love it. I think the main solo in the song, I think, is just a classic. One of the greatest of the genre, period. It is exceptional. It's creative. You got some unique licks in it, and it's just highly musical and melodic. And fits the song perfectly. So, anyway, this is gonna be a lot of fun to play. Before I get into all of CC's stuff on the electric, I'm gonna go through the acoustic guitar stuff. Keep in mind that this was actually, little later on, CC joined someone kind of a distorted electric with the acoustic stuff. But we're gonna do all the rhythm guitar parts on acoustic, switch to electric for the fun stuff, the CC stuff. Also, we are tuning out a half step here. So tune every string down a half step. So down to E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and then E flat. All right, before I get into it though, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell so you know when to do video, and YouTube won't actually let you know. I don't know why they don't. But anyway, if you really want to support what I do here on YouTube, join my Guitar Academy. You'll see a link to it in the description below. That link will actually give you a free 7-day trial to my academy, which contains all of my guitar courses, covering everything from complete beginner courses to more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone, you name it. You get personalized support from me. So please go check it out. You get a free 7-day trial just by clicking that link. Let's jump into the song. So I'm tuned down a half step here. Very easy, kind of the rhythm guitar part's pretty simple here. So we're going to start. You can hold an E major chord. Obviously, I know it's an E flat major chord, but just for simplicity's sake, let's just act like it's a standard tuned guitar. So you can hold it like this because that's how they do it at least. Kind of makes it a little bit easier to shift to the next chord. So for a lot of the song, we had this low E drone going. And you can just start it with an E major on top of it. So second fret on the A and the D, first fret on the G. If you want to play it like a normal E, that's fine too. But if you play it with these fingers, open B and open high E in the air, the next chord, we're basically going to go up to one. So we're basically moving these notes up to the fourth fret there on the A and the D, and the second fret there on the G. So you just basically took those fingers and moved it up. And we still have the low E open, the open B, and the open high E. So for most of the verse, that's what it is. You hear that. Tells me to believe in Jesus, steals the money from my head. So it's really those two chords that make up the verse. And then when it starts moving up, I consider that the pre-chorus. Some say he was a good man, Lord, I think he sinned. So you're going to see that. So it's kind of like the verse and pre-chorus are really kind of pretty close. So we just have these first two chords that are going to go through the verse sections. And then when it goes to the pre-choruses, building up to the chorus, we're going to play that same first two chords. And then all you're going to do is this chord that you're playing here, just move it up 2 frets. By the way, this is on a 12-string acoustic as well. On the original recording, so you're going to hear a lot of those octave notes being played because it's a 12-string. I have a 12-string I could have done this on, but I didn't want to spend an hour and a half tuning it down a half step. It's a total pain. So I'm just going to do it on a regular guitar. So that's just the open E string still, 6 on the A, 6 on the D, 4 on the G, open B, open high E string. And then we're we go to this A, so it's just, you still keep the open E underneath it. 7th fret on the A and the D, 6th on the G, open B and high E. So from the verse, we're doing this a couple times, just the first 2 chords. The sunrise brings a hotel room. I got the call last Christmas Eve and they told me. Still the verse. Cried all night, not to break down and cry as the tears rolled down my face. I felt so cold and empty, like a life so out of place. Now the pre-chorus. And the moon on the wall did a smile the face again. And that goes to the chorus. Give me something to believe in, which is just those first 2 chords again. Oh Lord, give me something to believe in. So it's the same as the verse. And then you start over with the verse. Alright, so that's pretty much the chords for the verse and the pre-chorus, and the pre-chorus is the one that moves up there. And then we have the rest of it's just pretty much those first 2 chords repeated. That's for the verse and the chorus. Now, underneath CeCe's killer solo, we do change things up a little bit. It looks like this. Alright, so that is going to start here. So it's kind of doing the same thing. You'll see when Brett plays it, he's kind of not really doing the notes there on the low E there. He's just letting the basses take care of that. So that's the 9th fret on the A, the D, 8th on the G, open B, open high E. Now, if you want to play the root note too, which sounds fine, just you don't have to do a bar chord. You can just play the 7th fret on the low E, then that 9 on the A and the D, 8 on the G, and then the open B and high E. Like I said, he doesn't play the note on the low E string. He just plays like this. But if you don't have a bass player playing with you, you're going to want to play that note yourself. So we have that, and then move it down 2 frets to the A. And once again, it's not a full bar. You're gonna just play that 5th fret on the A. 5th fret on the low E string, 7 on the A, 7 on the D, 6 on the G, and then the open B and high E with it. So like this. So I'm trying to hum the solo a little bit with you so you know where I'm at. So then after you do that B to A twice, go to the E major chord then. So that goes to an A power chord. So at that E, just the A power chord. So the open A string and the 2nd fret there on the D string. Then we play the 4th fret on the D and then back to the A power chord. So kind of a loop thing. And then kind of do that again, the A power chord to up with the open A with the 4th fret on the D again, and then back to the chorus with this. E again. figure we just did. And then basically end it with the pre-chorus. Alright, so that is about it for the rhythm guitar parts. So now I'm going to grab my electric and kind of take you through all of CeCe's fills and the main solo as well. So I'll see you there. Alright, now we got the electric here. We're going to go through all the kind of little licks that CeCe does throughout the song first. I'm going to give you the minute and second marker where these things happen. So you can know what I'm doing, but this is based off of the kind of the official YouTube video. So I don't know if this will match up with the minute second marker if you're on Spotify or something. It'd be pretty close, but don't worry about it. So we're at the 1 minute and 4 second mark. Just the first thing you're gonna hear a little volume swell come in like this. Just like that. So that's at the 12th fret on the B string, and you're gonna basically have a lot of volume swells in this. So we're gonna just pick that with the volume down, and then just raise the volume up. All right, so that's the first thing you're going to hear, lead guitar-wise. Then at the 1 minute and 24 second mark, we have something very similar, but you're going to take that same note and you're going to bend it up a whole step first. So do a pre-bend, so you don't hear the note at all first. So once again, it's going to be a volume swell, so I'm going to bend it, pick it, and then release the bend. So that one's a little bit trickier since you have to have a whole step there already. Pick, roll up the volume as you release the bend there. So that's what's going on at the 1 minute and 24 second mark. By the way, we're still tuning on half step and stuff, just like we were on the acoustic. Then at the 1 minute and 51 second mark, we have a little bit longer volume swell lick. Looks like this. All right, so these volume swells, quick volume swells in this guitar. Hopefully it's not as, a little bit easier on yours. This volume knob's a little bit further away from the strings that I'm usually comfortable with. Plus it's a high friction pot, so it's kind of hard to turn quickly. If I had my Strat, I could knock this out of the park, but this is kind of a stretch. So anyway, it's basically based around these notes, right? So it's E major pentatonic there. You might see it as C sharp minor pentatonic is how you're visualizing it, but in this key, you see it as E major pentatonic. But same scale, we have 12-9 on the high E string, 12-9 on the B, then 11-9 on the G, and then at the end you're gonna hit that 9th fret a couple times. So it kind of just does a volume swell on each one of those. So no volume, and then you roll it up a little bit. You don't have to go all the way up to 10. And then you roll the volume back down and do the same thing on the next note down on scale. And then again. So I'm gonna get good at your volume swells here. And then there's that little, which is, once again, you're gonna play the 9th fret on the B, roll up the volume, bend it up a half step, and then release the bend. So, all right, so that is that whole section that happens at the 1 minute and 51 second mark. All right, now we get to the fun stuff. This is the main solo here, instantly recognizable. This is one of my favorite, it's definitely my favorite solo by CeCe, but I think as it comes to like, that kind of whole, I guess, that whole hair metal power ballads or whatever. This is literally, for me, like a top 3 solo easily, because it's really, really great solo. Anyway, so I'm going to play through it for you real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. So here we go. Really, 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 really cool stuff there. All right, so we're gonna start here with this opening little melody. So that's gonna start with, it's kind of mostly up the G string. So we're gonna be starting with a kind of a pre-bar dip. Kind of scoop into this note. So this, I'm playing the 4th fret there on the G, right? So you play that note, but you're gonna kind of have the bar depressed first, and then you pick it and just let the bar come back up. So then move up and play 6, and then do the same thing at the 8th fret that we did at the 4th, where it's kind of little bit of a pre-bar dip, and then bring it up. And then up to 9. Then we have this. So that goes 8-6 on the G. So play 8-6, kind of staccato too. And then you're gonna play that 8 again and pull off to 6. And slide down to 4. So this. And then you're gonna do a bend at the 6th fret there on the G. Kind of a slow bend. And then we have this. So that's kind of that's a bend and release. You're gonna pick the 6 again and bend and release whole step with a kind of a pinch harmonic. See, bend and release that, pull off the 4, then over to 6 on the D, over to 6 back on the G, back to the 6 on the D, and then back to the 4 on the G. So far for this opening phrase. All right, and then we have this. I can just keep going, actually. It's such a great melodic solo. And it doesn't have the standard, there's a couple of places where you just play some pentatonic stuff, but there's some really cool melodic ideas that kind of do some skips, and they're just not something you see every day. And besides being very musical, it's pretty creative too. So anyway, we're gonna come up here. We're gonna play this 19th fret there on the B string. Once again, we got a pre-bend. So pre-bend it up a whole step, and then release. So then you need to kill the note, pre-bend it again, and then pick it again and release it again. So we have this. It does it like 3 times. So those are pre-bends at the 19th fret, and you got to kind of mute it between each one. So. And then resolves it here to the 17th fret here on the high E string. And then we have a cool lick. So we're at the 17 on the high E string. You're going to pick now 17, 19. Then 17 on the B to 16 on the G. Then up to 19 on the B string to 18 on the G. So we have this. Then he's going to do a quick slide from 16 to 17 on the high E string. And then back to that 19 on the B. So we have this all together. So I say it kind of skips around, but it's like really melodic. And now we have this. just really, really, really nice. All right, so we have this basically, now we're at this 17th. So after this, we go back to the 16th fret there on the high E string, and we do a half step bend and release. And when you release it, you gotta pick it a couple more times. So we have this. And then a couple more half step bend and release on that note. So with this. And then we're gonna go up. So we have 16, 17, 19, and then into a whole step bend there at the 19th fret. So that was another pre-bend. And then we have this. So that's going to be 16 on the G, hammer on 18, pull back off the 16, slide down to 14. And then you're going to do a bar dive on that note. And then it goes into this really cool note. There's a whole step bend there at the 14th fret on the high E string. And release that bend and resolve it there at the 12th fret there on the high E. So all together for that section. All right, now we have this next little kind of pentatonic thing. Looks like this. So I'll stop there before we get to the ascending one. So we're going to start with this pull off from 12 to 9 on the high E, and a pull off from 12 to 9 on the B. Then you're going to go over to the 9th fret on the high E string, and to a bend at the 12th fret on the B. So we have this. Sorry. So that's the lick, and he does that a couple times. And then he starts like he's going to do it a third time, but that's when he starts kind of going down through the scale. So he's just taking down. This is an E major pentatonic scale. You might, if you're really used to like minor pentatonics, you'd call it. It's same spot as C sharp minor pentatonic, but obviously in this key it's E major. So we have. So we basically had this. I'll just show you the notes, so we're going to be doing this across first. With 12-9 on the B and the high E. Then 11-9 on the G, A. So let's stop there. So after we've done that first lick we did twice. Just like that. Then we start doing these descending things. So we're going to go down the same pull off, 12-9 on the high E, 12-9 on the B, then go back and grab that 9 on the high E string, but then we're going to kind of continue going down with pull-offs, 12-9. So when I did grab that 9 on the high E, we have this. Then you start working your way down, 11-9, you just pull off 11-9 on the G, and then 11-9 on the D. So we have this. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to pick 11 on the A string, slide down to 9, pull off to 7. Then over to 9 on the low E string, then roll back over to 9 on the A string. And when you get to that 9 on the A, pull back off to 7. And then we're going to basically just go all the way down the scale. 9-7 on the low E, hammer back on to that 9, back to the 7 on the A, hammer 9, and then pull back off the 7 to kind of resolve the end of the lick there. So we have this. All right, now we get to the ascending section, which is really the end of the solo. All right, so that's going to start. We're going through these pentatonics again. So we're going to start by doing 7 on the low E string and hammer on 9. Same thing on the A. But then when you get to that 9, slide up to 11. Now we basically do the same thing an octave higher. So 9 on the D, hammer 11. Same thing on the G, 9, hammer 11. Slide up to 13. So we have this so far. And then we start kind of doing the same thing an octave higher again. We're going to hammer 12 to 14 on the B and the high E string. And then here he stops. So wait, you basically bend that 14 on the high E a couple times, pull off, release the bend, pull off to 12, and then play 14, pull off to 12 on the B. And then, after that quick little pull off, go back down here to the 11th fret on the G and start ascending again. So that's just going hammer on 11 to 13 on the G, 12 to 14 on the B, 12 to 14 on the high E string, and then a couple of bends again on the 14. Release that bend, pull off to 12, and then we do the same thing we did kind of earlier in the song. That thing. That's going 12 on the B. 14 on the B to 14 on the high E string. Back to that 14 on the B to the 12 on the high E string. So we have this. And then it does that lick again, starting with those 2 bends on the high E, the 14th fret. So that basically does that same lick twice. I'm sorry. And then you're going to end the solo by grabbing the 17th fret there, this A, and a slow bar dive on it. Perfect ending to a fantastic solo there. So that is my favorite CC solo. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's very, very well done. Great work, CC. All right, now the outro solo. Some good stuff too. Not gonna do. I hate outros. I don't hate outro solos. I hate transcribing them because there's vocals going on, and it's a pet peeve of mine. So I'm just gonna kind of show you what he's got to do in the solo. Stuff like this. We'll talk about the scale forms in a second. So it's kind of similar licks to that. What am I doing there? E major pentatonic. So really, if you get the forms underneath your fingers, and when you see him play this live, he's just kind of working around with these. So let's look at. So we're basically really around the 19, so the whole shape, if you want to know the whole pentatonic shape, so the main one he's messing around with is this. If you're in a major pentatonic, this would be this shape built off the third. All right. Some people call it the C shape, whatever, you're in a caged person. So we have 19 to 16 on the high E, 19 to 17 on the B, then 18, 16 on the G and the D, and then 19, 16 on the A and the low E. So he's messing around basically on that 19th fret has been. And then he goes up to the that 19 on the high E. But it's all at that same form. And then he jumps up here if you have 24 frets. Whole step bend there. And then he's back down. And he will work his way down to what the shape built off the second form in the major pentatonic, which here, he just transitions to it down here from that 18, 16, slide down to 14, and then you're just 16, 14 on the A and the low E. And then he will, at the end of the solo, you can work your way down to the E. So it's really that around there. And then he will grab that note right there and bend it up a half step, just like we did in the main solo. So just kind of messing around with that shape, just like he does live. I think you can really make those big notes he said. Those are the important ones to grab and do whatever you want with the E major pentatonic for the rest of it. Now we do have one final volume swell look at the very end of the track. Very similar to the one before it. Looks like this. So that's just more, the notes is just like 12-9 on the high E, 12-9 on the B, and then that 11-9 on the G, but you play them a couple times. And then end it with a bend at the 11th fret. So he's just doing swells on all those. Just really, a lot of really tasteful licks in this, and just a really epic, really tasteful solo in it as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning. It's a great track from Poison, and it's a lot of fun to play, especially the solos. All right, I'll see you guys again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.